Hi everyone, Craig Sage, Superintendent in the Athens Area School District, and I'm here with Mr. Steinfelt for another teacher chat. Mr. Steinfelt, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Mr. Steinfelt, how did you become a teacher?
Well, I was in the agriculture program at Kalaniski Valley High School, and I had Mr. Claire Zerby and Mr. Marty Heiler were my ag teachers out there. Didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was in high school, and I said, well, you know, I really love FFA and the parts of FFA, and people definitely need to be educated about agriculture, so it was a natural fit to become an agricultural educator.
Mr. Steinfelt, did you come from an agricultural background?
I did. We had a dairy farm in Tioga County, and I also helped to produce maple syrup there. We had all different kinds of things that we did on the farm there. So yes, I did have an agricultural background.
Being an agricultural education teacher is a little bit more challenging than people may know. You are pretty much busy from sun up to sundown, 6 or 7 days a week. Am I right?
Absolutely. Between FFA conferences that we take students to and trips that we go for professional development, or just going out with the students to do bell ringing the other night at Salvation Army. So it's an interesting time all the time in the ag program.
It absolutely is. You know, what are some of your favorite things about being a teacher?
I think some of the favorite things that I enjoy about being an agriculture teacher is I get to see every student, like all spectrum of the student. I get from, you know, our students are valedictorians that have been in the program before, all different levels and abilities of students. And there's something unique about every one of them. They're all good at something that they can provide to our ag program. So the thing that kind of provides me with a challenge would be that I just have to see what those students are good at. A lot of times students will say, well, I'm not good at anything, but they're all good at something, and then we just have to figure out what that strength is and build on it to make them successful in the ag program. The first time I can get them to go to a public speaking event, they might say, I'm never doing this, and then they go and do it, and they say, well, that's not so bad. And that just helps with communication later on in life, which they absolutely need. So.
Some crazy development that you see in some of these kids between their freshman year and their senior year, and I've seen it myself. You know, everybody has an opinion about what agricultural education is about, and is there a myth out there that you would like to debunk?
Sure. Yeah, I think the big thing about the ag program is a lot of people think that the student has to be a farmer, or they're going to have to be going into production agriculture in some way, shape, or form. I was just talking to you briefly here about Rowan Morales and his drone interest that he has, and he could do a lot of things in agriculture with drones, you know, from crop spraying to planting crops even these days with drones. So it's not just what I usually say, cow, sows, and plows, right? We are doing a whole lot more than that. It's a lot of technology with GPS and precision planting. It's a wide open field, no pun intended, in agriculture, right?
Right. So. Well, I do remember a time we had a community member come in and install GPS on the tractor.
Correct.
And if you look around this classroom, you'll notice that there's a lot of technology. So it's not old school. It's very innovative, and a lot of technology goes involved in that. You know, being a teacher, you are part of a child's education, and the other part are parents. You know, as a teacher, what advice would you give parents to help them, you know, keep their kids learning and help be a partner in their learning process?
Yeah, I think, and this is my own opinion, right? I think that parents, you should absolutely be involved in the education. Push them outside of their comfort zone a little bit. Even though a student might think it's hard, it's got to be hard or things don't change. If they're always comfortable doing the same thing every day, they're not going to have any growth. And when I see students, I'm lucky enough I get to see students from 9th grade all the way until their senior year if they complete our program.
Right.
And I can see a huge amount of growth in those students. I have students like that are signed up to go to conferences and things, and then there's others that say, no, I'm not going to do this. They absolutely should. Like, they need to go experience and see what FFA is, go see the experiences outside of what we do in the classroom, and also what we might do in just our area, even if they go to Harrisburg to the farm show, right. In January that's coming up. A whole world of opportunity that they get to see what Pennsylvania agriculture is instead of just like what we have just here in the valley.
You got to have those lived experiences,
Absolutely.
right? It doesn't always happen at a desk. It's outside of there.
Yeah,
so
push those students to get out and do stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, challenge them a little bit.
You know, I've been asked, you know, you got a large following. I don't know if you know that, being the FFA advisor, ag teacher, and every kid is asking me, you know, can you just find out, what does this guy eat for breakfast? What's your favorite breakfast?
Well, what I like to eat for breakfast a lot of days is frosted mini wheats, sometimes Cheerios, but my favorite breakfast is pancakes and bacon.
Of course.
So I can't do that every morning.
No, you can't. And last question, the question I always love to ask is, why do you love being a Wildcat?
Yeah, I think that my experience here, I've been here 23 years now, so to see the amount of support that we get from administration, from the community, we get huge community support here. I think that was one of the biggest things that I wanted to make sure we had when I moved here and started the ag program. We started with about 40 kids in the ag program in 2002, I think, when I started here, and now we have over 200.
Wow.
And I would not be able to do all of that. I have to mention Mrs. Aldifer, right?
Right, yeah.
That is here, and Miss Geiger, who's filling in for Mrs. Aldifer while she's on maternity leave. But I would not be able to do most of the things that we do if I didn't have the extra support and extra help here to do that. So that's one of the biggest things. I just like all the community support, especially that we get.
Agreed. And, you know, it's amazing how fortunate we are as being Wildcats that we have that support.
Absolutely.
Education matters.
It does.
Right?
It does.
Thank you, Mr. Steinfelt.
You're welcome.
And as always, go Wildcats.